Murph and Andy on a Monday, and it's kind of like keeping the New Year's theme going there, where that was, it all revolved around a countdown. So we thought, why not incorporate that right into the show?
Yeah, that occurred to me. Maybe everybody's tired of countdowns at this point because, like any countdown that we have going on right now is a long one, right? I mean, you're counting down the days in January, which unfortunately there are 31 of those. Then the days in February. Get a little bit of a break there, but still a full month. And then maybe you're counting down the whole year until we get to do the holidays again, because those are fun.
And the college football playoff, it seems like it should be over after this past weekend. I'm sure some of that is just muscle memory of my lifetime or mind memory.
It's just kind of getting good.
Yeah, I should wrap it up around New Year's, but we're not even to the semifinals yet. And at least the NFL field is set. And that game last night on Sunday Night Football was a fantastic way to end the regular season. That was great.
With the missed field goals?
Well, it added to the drama. It did add something to it. First of all, Aaron Rodgers goes and gets the touchdown. I mean, that's the reason the Steelers bring him in. For a moment like that. Still
throws a really good ball.
Oh, he put it right on him. But then the Steeler misses the extra point, which you and John Sears are celebrating over at WHO 13 because you're thinking, now it can't be tied. They're up 2 instead of 3.
Wait. Don't put us out on an island here.
Okay,
you were celebrating it too.
Yes.
I wish we could have a little camera there in the WHO 13 sports office as we are watching this game differently than most of the rest of the nation.
I think. We do not want overtime.
We just want the thing to end because this game was pretty late to begin with.
Yes, it was. Overtime would have pushed us well past midnight for sound off. But yeah, the extra point is missed. And then Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, he makes a couple of big throws, including a 4th down throw. It's the Ravens in position, and they've gotten rid of their longtime kicker, brought in the rookie, and he hasn't missed from that distance the entire season. That's a lot of pressure, and he just pushed it right. Steelers win.
Yeah, those were a couple of footballs that tracked like baseballs or wiffle balls. There, those last 2 kicks, that extra point just was a knuckleball, and then that field goal had some slice to it. So, and then we're all like, "Yeah, all right, we could be done with this because we don't care who wins in those games." I mean, it was a good game. We don't really care. I don't know. I mean, the Steelers or the Ravens, whatever. We don't care. But it is funny that I can remember the first time that it occurred to me that people in the media might be rooting for a team to lose. And I don't know why it took so long to occur to me, but I'd certainly never seen anybody rooting against their home team, right? Which happens because, in the media, you're working, right? And that team's success or failure has a direct effect on your life. And I can remember being in St. Louis and covering the Blues in the playoffs and being up in the press box and doing all I could not to cheer, right? Because that's the first rule that you learn. When you're covering
no cheering in the
living.
Press box.
No cheering in the press box. Really, no cheering. Period. You're just supposed to be there covering the game, and you're not a fan. But there were people that were cheering in the press box, like silently. You could see them like fist pumping themselves.
I've seen that locally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and sometimes you just can't help it, but there were people like rooting against the Blues. I was like, what are you doing? What is wrong with you, man? And then they're just like, well, I'll tell you, if they go on to the next round of the playoffs, I am going to be on the road for the next 2 weeks, and I don't get to see my wife and kids. And they just go on this laundry list.
I'm rooting for my personal life.
And then you're like, oh, and I still didn't make a lot. I was real disappointed, but as you get older and you get into that kind of life, you sort of understand. I mean, that's the deal that we make in covering sports for a living, is that it's like a deal with the devil. You cover sports for a living, but you don't enjoy the sports the way that you did as a fan again.
It's Murph and Andy on a Monday. Let's roll.
This game is once in a century. Be there at Casey Center on February 12th. Go to HarlemGlobetrotters.com for your tickets to the 100-year tour.
What's up? I'm Jake Bren with Bigger Than 12, joined by my co-host Derek Duke, where every Sunday we break down the Big 12 Conference.
We'll recap the full day in the Big 12 and look ahead to next week.
We talk a lot of Iowa State, but it's not just Cyclones. We go from Morgantown to Salt Lake City and everywhere in between. Be sure to check out Bigger Than 12 every Sunday here on Iowa Everywhere.
Murph and Andy, talking sports and more, exclusively on Iowa Everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios, here are Keith Murphy and Andy Fales.
Glad to get the week started here. Let's go to the Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines, setting the table for sports and more. Coming up, Penn State Cyclones, hypocrisy of chaos, and new look NFL playoffs. That is all presented by the Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines, featuring Kentucky Fried Tuesdays. That's fried chicken and sides. Now high or low since our last show.
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Got a note from Tim Hawkins this morning, kind of reminding everybody that, there are people out there that have extra 401ks or IRAs that maybe they've stopped thinking about. They're just sort of floating around out there. And it's a good idea to consolidate all those things, he says, and he can do all that stuff for you and get your portfolio gathered together and headed the right direction for your retirement. You'll find him at wealthcharterretirement.com. I'm going to go with a high here, not to plug another sponsor here, but this is just what I did on Friday night, and I had kind of a revelation. We saw the Winnie Moranville best restaurants in Des Moines list come out last week, and Guest House Tavern was in there again. So Kahala and I went. First of all, we went a little late, and I had forgotten they have like a happy hour that starts at 8 p.m. also, like a second round of a happy hour. So that was nice. But we were like, let's sit at the bar, because it sort of occurred to me that it's kind of fun to sit at the bar, and then that really reinforced itself on me, reimpressed itself on me. That is one of the most underrated things about going out to a restaurant is sitting at the bar. Honestly,
I'm a big fan.
I'm a huge fan of sitting at the bar. I honestly think it's the best seat in the house.
I need a back on the bar stool though.
A back on the bar stool. Yeah. Well, they had them there. That was all good.
They have them there.
But the great thing is bartenders, like they're well versed at multitasking and conversations. They keep working and they talk to you and they're right there, and it's kind of interesting to watch them work. They give you little samples of the beers sometimes. You're not sure which one you want, and there's just more action going on. So I'm a bar guy. I like to sit at the bar. I think I'm going to try to do that. It's one of my New Year's resolutions. Nice low bar there. Sit at the bar.
But there's a gift to a good bartender or waitress, waiter, and that's knowing when to leave too. Like, drop in, couple of fun sentences, a little bit of interaction, get out. Because once in a while, after an hour or so, you're like, I really didn't think it was the three of us coming to dinner tonight. It's like, and that's tough. Also, there's a gift to the talented barber. Like the barber that talks
at the
enough.
restaurant?
No, not at the restaurant. Now in a barber shop. We've moved out of the restaurant. Now we're in a barber shop.
Yeah.
The barber who knows, like, how much to engage you and what you like. I mean, it's a really underrated gift because some you can tell have been coached in barber college or by their colleagues. Like, you need to make sure you show an interest in the client. It's kind of like the Uber driver who talks your ear off. And some of them even ask now, it'll show up on the app. Would you like a conversation, or would you just like me to stay quiet? And what would you pick?
I would like him to stay quiet. No offense. I mean, let me let me restate that. I would like enough conversation to know that the guy isn't, miserable.
Driving you to a hostage situation.
Yeah, right. Like plotting some sort of, something awful. But then just enough. But I don't want to talk to him about what our plans are for the evening and what his day's been like or anything like that. I mean, just enough to say, okay, I'm here, I'm human, I can speak, and I'm going to get you to the destination and hit me with any questions. And that's it. And you kind of check in and then get out.
I'm going to go high, too. I'm going to Saturday night, went to an Iowa Wolves game. I always enjoy these. I did have a little bit of an uncomfortable situation here with Alpha. Alpha walked in front of us, and I called him Crunch. And as anybody out there who's a big fan of mascots, like, say, Chris Hassel, Alpha and Crunch are different mascots. Now, they were both there because the Minnesota Timberwolves had sent down their dancers and their main mascot, Crunch, and all this. And I just panicked a little bit, and I called Alpha Crunch, and I think Alpha was really upset with me. And I did later get a picture with him, but he didn't look happy about it. So I guess I've learned anything here. It's if you're not sure of the name, don't blurt it out because it can get personal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But overall, it was a really good night. And Andy, as you know, the Sioux Falls Skyforce are an affiliate of the NBA's Sioux Falls Skyforce. Well, who would you guess? Iowa Wolves, Minnesota Timberwolves. Makes sense. 3 easy drive, quick flight, 3.5 hour drive.
Well, I know where you're going with this here, and I have no idea, but I would assume it could only be the Miami Heat.
It is the Miami Heat. Dang.
Makes perfect sense. I don't know who you thought it would be. It was an easy guess.
That's really impressive. I don't know how you did that, but I'm impressed. Let's catch the buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
It's a good week to get the heating and cooling checked. You might need both. Have you seen the temperatures in the forecast?
Yeah, things turn around a little bit later
Big
this
time.
week. Kind of a good start, though. I like it when it's mild to start the week. It helps us get going.
All right, main buzz, at least in our world, and it's been hard to get away from, it is the majority of the star Cyclone football players are going to Penn State. This does not surprise me. It has surprised some Cyclone fans. I guess they just didn't expect it to be this many. It's basically, not completely, but basically the starting offense and defense of Iowa State is going to Penn State. Last count I saw, and it might have changed, was 17. Jamison Patton, former Des Moines Roosevelt and Ankeny star, the latest to announce today that he's headed to Penn State. Rocco Becht, many others. I think the one contrary in all this, John Tez Williams was rated as the number 1 cornerback in the portal. He's going to USC. Everyone else I've seen is, at the high level, the high end, is going to Penn State.
Yeah, somebody made a higher bid.
Yes. And Penn State has a lot of money and can spend a lot of money too, but USC seems to have unlimited resources.
At least for that player, they made the higher bid, or maybe that's just where he wanted to go.
They did. So we're not surprised by this. We've talked about it. I knew it was coming. I think you knew it was coming. I think fans expected to lose some players. But I think it's kind of a 1-2 punch, Andy. There's two things going on here. One is if Iowa State hasn't already set the record for most players lost in the portal, it's been in a race with Oklahoma State. The last number I saw for Iowa State was 50 players in the portal. I don't think fans expected that many people to leave. And it's also important to note some of those players have been pushed into the portal. Not everybody who goes into the portal is going by their own choice. You get a new coaching staff, and sometimes that staff comes in, and there are players that they don't think should stay and that they encourage to leave, or they tell them to get into the portal. In fact, I think the two coaching staffs are a little bit sideways with each other over a few things that are going on right now. But anyway, so you have that. You have the 50 players, and then you have basically all your stars going to Penn State, where Matt Campbell was. And Matt Campbell was at Iowa State for 10 years. And he built part of his brand on loyalty and process. And I just think it's jarring for some fans to realize, oh, the real process here is what's best for Matt Campbell, not what's best for Iowa State. And I don't think this makes him a bad guy, but I think there are a lot of fans right now that are mad.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I mean, it has been 10 years, and 10 years ago, this system was not what it is now. So it is a first go around, a rough first go around for Iowa State, a major reality check. This is where we are in the world of college sports, not just football, but college sports right now. When you make a coaching change, this has the potential to happen. And in situations where a guy is going up to a place like Penn State, maybe this is likely to happen, no matter what's going on. And, it is also a reminder that, coaches are there doing a job, but they're doing their job. They're not doing the university's work. They're doing their work. And if they do their job well, then that will lift the university as well. But they're not there just for the university. I mean, the university is secondary.
And this is all within the rules.
Thirdary. Yeah, right. It is within the rules. And I think that what's, this is hard for Cyclone fans because I think some of them probably, or many of them probably, were pretty realistic, and they thought, okay, a bunch of these players, because the bar at Penn State is higher than it is at Iowa State. Expectations will be higher. Mm-hmm. These players will need to be better. The wins need to be bigger. They need to be more numerous. I mean, all of those things. And so, to do all of that, you're going to need, you're going to have to compete with Ohio State and Michigan and now Indiana and all the other big ones. I mean, you're going to have the top talent in the nation to do all that kind of stuff. Did Cyclone fans think that these guys were the best players in the nation? Probably not. I mean, they thought that they were good players at Iowa State and good players in the Big 12, but they probably thought, a bunch of these guys are probably not Penn State material, so maybe they thought that a number of them, at least a number of them, would not leave for Penn State. And now they see this and they're like, whoa, I was wrong about that. And I think it puts them in an interesting position now. If you're an Iowa State fan, what are you rooting for out of Penn State's season this coming year, or this year now? I mean, what do you want to see? Do you want to see these guys who you've rooted for a long time and crowed about and thought were really great go and fall on their face? Or do you want to see them really succeed? Because if they really succeed, maybe that says something about Iowa State. Maybe they go higher than they did at Iowa State. And does that mean that they were held back by Iowa State, that they can only go so high and be so good there? And that it's the moment they go to a bigger school or a better situation or whatever, they can do better? They can be a better team? Mm-hmm. And do you wonder, why didn't they do this at Iowa State? I mean, we see that with the Hawkeye fans and the success of a lot of those players in the NFL. It makes them wonder, why did they do this at Iowa? I mean, what are you rooting for? Or maybe will you be able to completely turn your back to Matt Campbell, the former Cyclones in Penn State, this coming season?
Well, I've felt the anger a lot over the weekend with just announcing some of these transfers, these the intention to transfer, because Cyclone fans, some of them, not all, some understand it, but it is news, and even Cyclone fans, they get mad. They want to know today that Jamison Patton is going to Penn State. Now, after they know it, they might write something like, who gives a crap? If he's out of here, I no longer care. Let's concentrate on the players coming in. But the problem is the players coming in, we don't know them. Like, it's for the most part, the Arkansas State quarterback being an exception, you don't really know these players. You don't know these Washington State commits. And then you get into some of the double standard hypocrisy here that we can all be a victim of in sports, which is many of these Cyclone fans that are getting increasingly pissed at Matt Campbell and these players do not have a problem with Jimmy Rogers rating the Washington State recruits that he had or the players that played for him at Washington State. And they're not exactly the same because Matt Campbell was at Iowa State for 10 years. Jimmy Rogers was just there 1 year. There wasn't really any loyalty built up either way. He did a good job in one season, but he's going to do what he thinks is best for Jimmy Rogers and Iowa State at this point, just like that's what Matt Campbell's doing. It would seem to me that what Matt Campbell is doing at Penn State is very similar to what Curt Cignetti did to build Indiana, which is take his best players that he thinks will be the best fit and then supplement them with more talented players that he believes he can get with the resources available to him at Penn State that were not completely at his disposal at Iowa State. And Penn State has a soft schedule. So I think that's what Matt Campbell is trying to do at Penn State. But it's also interesting here, Andy, that the Penn State reaction is mixed. Some of the fans look into it and they find the glass half full and they're like, oh, I've seen some video on Rocco Becht. He looks great. Some of them are like, we don't want this middle of the road Big 12 team. Yeah. I mean, we're Penn State. We were in the semifinal, a play away from the championship game last year.
Yeah, that's not where we're paying this guy all this money so he can bring these guys over. They didn't even win the Big 12. Yeah, but yeah, and that's true. You have to kind of look at it from that side also, and you can kind of understand. And that ought to, I mean, that'll make you feel a little bit better. I mean, these guys they may go over there and not play. I mean, they may go over there and have a rough time. This may not work out. This is a totally different situation for Matt Campbell. I mean, he's out there. He has really got to prove himself, and he's not going to have long to do it over there. So he's trying. You know, some of these players are gap fillers. You know, they're bridge players to one year players. Sure. 1 year players. Some of them will, succeed over there. There's no doubt. I mean, you can look at Connor Hansen and
Carson
Hansen, Jensen Larson. You think of I think of Penn State's long track record of great running backs that they've had there, and what a thrill that would be for him to go and become a Penn State running back. I mean, that is a pedigree, right? I mean, you're a Penn State. You carried the ball at Penn State in that stadium. That's an amazing opportunity.
Well, Hawkeye fans have enjoyed some of this weekend, and that is also, there's so many layers to this, and in some cases, the two things are not the same, but like you have Hawkeye fans that are kind of mostly we're talking about the really outspoken trolls here, the rivalry trolls. Both sides has them, but there are some that just find it hilarious that Matt Campbell is building his roster with all these Iowa State players and they're leaving without any irony whatsoever that they just cheered Iowa winning a basketball game Saturday with Drake's roster from last year. Mm-hmm. Drake's coach, most of the starting lineup were Drake players last year. I mean, Iowa just did the same thing for basketball, and it's working. They've got good players and who we have thought from the jump would be a great coach. But, Andy, you're a Drake alum. You've been pretty open about how much it sucks to have this happen. But I think we are all vulnerable to not liking it when it happens to us, but not really noticing it when it happens to somebody else, or in worst case, even laughing at it.
Yeah, and this is going to happen to Iowa at some point, and it's going to happen to everybody unless they're able to
change,
do the unlikely and pull together and get this whole system straightened out. But you're just not. Iowa and Iowa State are one of those places where, in all likelihood, if you're a fan, you don't want your team being the tall blade of grass, right? Sticking out, because you're going to get cut. I mean, somebody's going to come around and pluck your guy. Mm-hmm. Kirk Ferentz is one of the rare exceptions out there, and he's certainly far enough into his career where I think there's no chance that he's going anywhere. But if Ben McCollum does really, really well at Iowa, he'll leave. There's no reason to believe that Ben McCollum will stay at Iowa the rest of his life. I don't care what he says about this being his dream job. Somebody that comes along with a giant sack of money and a bigger opportunity, that's going to be hard to turn down for a guy that is that competitive and professional like he is. But I mean, this will come for just about everybody at some point, and it's just one of those things that fans have to kind of prepare themselves for, and not laugh too hard at your rival when it happens to them. Right? As hard as that is to do, it's almost impossible to do.
Yeah. It's just this whole month is so crazy. I know we've been through it, so we're going to get into a little bit more, too, just how crazy it is. I mean, Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss in part so he could pursue winning a national championship at LSU. And now Ole Miss can still win the national championship. And if it does, even though everybody there now hates him, he makes $1 million. The world's gone nuts. But let's get a quickie poll here from WCI Pools and Spas in Ames and Urbandale. AD, what do you have?
Is it fair game for a college coach to, in a new job, to raid his former school? Yes, they're his players, or no, go look elsewhere.
Well,
yes, it sucks. But
is he rating it? I mean, these players are making their own decisions.
Yeah, they can't leave without an offer. I mean, he's got to pursue them, and they haven't pursued all the players. I'm sure there are some players at Iowa State they're disappointed because they thought they would be invited to State College, and they're not invited. Or, I think some of the former staff at Iowa State, they're annoyed that some of the players that they had grown attached to, in some cases walk-ons, got pushed out by Jimmy Rogers and his staff. But if you leave for Penn State, you can't have a problem with Jimmy Rogers' decisions in Ames. You made the decision to leave.
Yeah, I know. There's so much about this. I mean, what is the word contract mean in this world? Should there just be no contracts? I mean, I think a lot of us would be fine with that. A lot of people would be fine with that. But then again, I mean, do you want to, can you invest in something when there's no, I don't, that's the crazy thing, is that people are still investing in college sports, in programs headed up by big name coaches. They are still investing. They are still, donating to build buildings and get players, keep coaches, even though they have no guarantee anymore. I don't think that's going to last forever, but for the time being, it's still happening. So people don't need to change that. But it's just so weird. It's hard to know exactly what to hope for first, because there are so many priorities that are stacked on top of each other right now.
And there's so many frustrated fans that don't pay as close attention as like you and I do and as AD does, and they don't understand why they don't just simply put some rules in place. Well, the reason it went from being way too restrictive to now having absolutely no rules is because the NCAA kept taking a beating in court, and they just realized that they can't do anything. Well, what has to happen to rein most of this in would be to declare the student athletes as what they are, which is employees. Employees get benefits, and then employees want to have labor negotiations and unions, and the presidents, athletic directors, administrators, they don't want that. Well, without that, you have something that's as ludicrous as Lane Kiffin leaving or Matt Campbell leaving. I mean, Iowa State fans got cheated a bowl game because the players all voted to not go. But you kind of see now, like, what would that bowl team have looked like with 50 players in the portal by the time the bowl arrived?
Right now it looks like, just totally common sense, doesn't it? As disappointing as that was, but to know that all these guys were planning on leaving, I still think it's okay to think that maybe they would want to play another football game, being football players.
I would like to believe that.
Yeah, I mean, but if they're trying to preserve their marketability and their health, and their head isn't in the game, I mean, this is too dangerous of a game to approach, half-assedly for players. I mean, they either need to be all the way in or all the way out of a bowl prep, but I don't know. I mean, it's a sad situation. It's too bad for fans. But then again, I mean, this is not specific to Iowa State.
No.
It is.
It feels like it right now, but it's not close.
It's a college football, college basketball problem.
To that point, 1/3 of the nation's Division I football players are in the portal. 1/3. Thousands. Many, including some from Iowa State, likely will not find a chair when the music stops. But some of them have
Or they'll go back
agents.
to their old schools.
Yeah, they can still do that. And we should point that out each time. If the coach will take you back, because apparently academics is not a concern for any of this. Like, people just get in the portal, they end up playing for another team. I don't hear any talk anymore about, well, we're not sure yet if his transcripts are going to get there in time, or we don't know if he's got the grades to get into this school, but we've got our fingers crossed because he's a good football player. But of course, we have academic standards. That stuff doesn't come up anymore at all. It's like they're not even in school anymore. And I know some of them are. Some. All right, here's some recent takes on this subject, including maybe an overlooked part of this, which is it seems everybody suddenly has an agent, and the agents aren't always that qualified. And here's Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian.
Which agent you're dealing with? There's some agents that are rational, and there's some that this is their first time ever being an agent. I don't even know if they're licensed to be agents, but all of a sudden they get to be agents, because we have no certification process in college football. Or in the NFL, you have to be certified. In college football, it might be their college roommate, their freshman year, who's their agent right now. And this guy's throwing numbers at you, and it's like, we can't even deal with this. Like, you just move on. And so it's unfortunate, and we'll get there in college football, but right now it's a tough situation.
That is a good point. And this is a guy that is in as good a spot as you could possibly be in for resources. I mean, he's at the University of Texas, and he's complaining about the agents. And he goes on to say in this press conference, Andy, there are times where, like, the agent, which can be a roommate or an uncle or a father, sometimes they give the figure that they want. And he says he's had to say at times, like, well, good luck to you. Go see if you can get that.
Well, agents are almost never the good guy. Almost never in sports. And boy, now they seem to be like the collective bad guy, the scapegoat in so many of these different situations. I mean, I think we blame them for luring kids away from their current programs and getting them into the portal and shopping them around. And certainly we blame them for not caring about their academics or what kind of school situation they're getting themselves into. And, probably a lot of that is merited, right? I mean, I can imagine there are a lot of these agents out there, who are out there that are just in it for the money. They're just trying to fleece these schools and these collectives for as many dollars as possible for the player, but also for themselves. And they're a problem. And maybe that's kind of where everybody starts to build the defense, right? Where they start to build the process, start the process for changing this whole thing is problems with the agents and the dislike of that agent culture that is now really just had fertilizer dumped all over it, right? I mean, this problem, this has always been a problem, but now it's really out in the open. And I can only imagine that that's exacerbated the problem.
Here is Missouri coach Eli Drinkwitz on the instant gratification culture.
We're such a instant gratification era, including myself. I'm not putting this on anybody. It's the entire world we live in, that we're trying to skip the step of adversity and growth. And you're never going to be able to skip that in life. you're always going to have to face it, whether that's in your marriage, whether that's in your job, whether that's raising kids. And I know what's happened. We want to, as parents, as older people, we want to help the next generation not have to face some of the hardships that we faced. But man, the greatest generation in the world is the greatest generation because they faced the Great Depression, they faced the World War II. They figured it out. And I just worry about there's going to be players who leave our program, and I love them dearly. And it's maybe they're not excited about their role, or they're frustrated because they don't feel like they're being utilized the right way. And sometimes you just got to keep growing, sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and sometimes you're just trading one set of problems for another. So
he's right. I'm sure if you check everything he's ever said or done, he's got some hypocrisy in his background too. But yeah, the most important lessons and growth I've ever had in my life is from my failures. Mm-hmm. It's from working hard when something didn't come easily to me.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, a reminder that you can be a hypocrite and still be right.
Yes.
And he is right about this. And the question is, who really has the student athlete's best interests in mind? And what are the best interests? And that's going to be the case with kids that age, no matter what. I mean, anytime that there's a situation with money and fame in play, but I mean, yeah, they might be in the best situation for them at their current school, but they're lured out by a million different things. They're pulled out of that situation. They transfer when they shouldn't. They end up not finding a good place to land, or landing in the wrong spot and screwing up their whole thing. But I mean, that's going to be their lesson. That'll be the way that they learn it. But I mean, it's hard for schools and coaches to say, hey, this is the best situation for you, and not sound like they're just taking care of their own backyard, right? Not taking care of their own interests. But I mean, I think you have to trust that the coach does care about his players. I mean, he certainly invests a lot of time and blood, sweat, and tears into them, and that they could speak to these players honestly and say, look, it's not all about money here, and you have to kind of try to see the big picture. It's hard to see the big picture when money is blocking your view, though.
Yes, it is. One more now from Georgia head coach Kirby Smart on not learning from grinding.
Did you come here to develop? Did you truly come here to develop? Because if you did, all your buddies are out there right now. Everybody's, announcing what they're doing. I'm announcing that I'm going in the portal. I'm announcing that I'm re-signing. How about you announce that you're getting better and you're going to practice and actually do what the 20 and 30 years of college football players did before you? Because if you're going to play somewhere else, you know what you need to do? You need to get better. If you're going to play here, you know what you need to do? You need to get better. If you want to go to the National Football League and play, this is your last chance to get better, because they're not going to give you much opportunity. They're going to cut you or keep you based on how you do. They don't get to practice in pads but so many days. So development occurs in December for us, and that's what we've been focused on.
Yeah, and one of the good things that's come out of this crazy era we're in is that the SEC can no longer just stack players for years in backup positions.
Yes. We should come up with a list, be a short list of the good things about this new world order.
The SEC is not the elite dominant conference that it's being hyped, and was sincerely that conference for about a 20-year period, but it's not right now. It's still great, still one of the top two for sure, but they're taking some butt kickings in part because they don't just have 4- and 5-star players in those backup positions anymore, because they all go in the portal. Even the quarterbacks, if they're not starting, they go somewhere else.
As they should, right? I mean, that's been ridiculous for years, right? That Alabama would have, 5-star players, buried in their 3-deep roster, just you're like, what? That kid is just sitting there, and maybe he'll get a shot in 2 years. Yeah, I mean, those guys can move on, and it spreads the wealth a little bit. I mean, it's kind of nice, but I don't know, the list of good things I think would run out pretty quickly with me.
Andy, the most important thing that comes out of that is the question: Can you wear a visor and look good? Can you wear a visor and be taken seriously? Has anybody pulled off the visor? Steve Spurrier, maybe some 70s PGA golfers. Do you ever see anybody in a visor and think, yeah, I think that's a good look?
Yeah, probably not since like Nancy Lopez or something. But it's hard. He did bring up one point that I think is a good one. Yeah, you could make yourself look really good as a player right now by coming out, making a post and saying, hey, I'm not going anywhere. But that
better.
doesn't mean I'm not. Doesn't mean I'm over here standing still. I'm going to work my butt off in the off season to get better at the school I'm at. Oh, you'd be you'd be canonized instantly with your fan base.
We'll never know, but it would be interesting if Tom Brady had this system in place back when he was a backup at Michigan. Would he have left? And if he didn't stick it out, would it not have made him the obsessed with getting better person that he became because of his frustration from not starting? He just became obsessed with improvement and has done that even as a broadcaster. He's much better this year than he was last year. Interact with others on YouTube. On X, it's Murph_Andy. The email, Murph_Andy at iowaeverywhere.com. It's powered by the Cellular Advantage, now able to help you with any and all of your T-Mobile and U.S. cellular needs. The NFL playoffs, much like the college football Final Four, we got some fresh blood in there. We don't have no Chiefs, no Cowboys, no Lions. You look at these matchups, including AD, Packers, Bears, prime time, 7 p.m. Saturday night.
Let's go.
The Bears are the 2 seed.
I think the Packers might be favored, or at least the initial line was Packers by 1.
Well, they should have won that last game, but they kept finding ways to lose.
The Bears defense
Soldier
is
Field.
struggling right now.
Well, the Packers aren't playing real great either. So
no, they're not.
Yeah, the Panthers in there. What?
Well, and you look at I was hoping the Bucks would get in there, but they didn't. That didn't go the right way. The Bills, Jaguars. You look at that, at least I do, and I'm like, oh, the Bills should win that easily. The Jaguars are playing really well at home, and the Bills haven't had a great season by their recent standards. That's interesting. 49ers, Eagles, you got the Super Bowl champs, but the 49ers, they just got stonewalled in Seattle the other night. That was a dull game. They couldn't move the football.
Yeah, looked awful.
What do we have? Chargers, Patriots. That's an interesting game. So that'll be our Sunday night game before sound off. That is Chargers, Patriots, and then
it's a Rolling Stone year for the NFL. I mean, you just get a whole bunch of new blood in there, a bunch of new fan bases or fan bases that have kind of been dormant for a while, and now they get back into the mix. And this is a winning formula for the NFL, and it's one that I don't know. I mean, you have to credit the fact that they do so much in the name of parity.
They do.
I mean, from the draft to the scheduling to the salary cap to really just the overall ridiculousness of the wealth of those team owners. And I mean, they're just basically, it doesn't really matter how much wealthier one is than the other. They're pretty close to the same playing field all the time, and everybody's got a really great stadium. And they, I mean, there's always some some team that you can point to that was lousy just a couple of years ago, and now they're deep in the playoffs. So no matter what, I mean, unless you're the Browns, I guess that's the one team.
Well, they fired their coach. It's Black Monday. The Stefanski's out. Somebody else will grab him. But to the parity point, like, I know Vikings fans, including Chris Williams, who are irritated that the Vikings kept winning down the stretch because they played their way out of a good draft pick, and they don't look like they have an elite quarterback. Speaking of elite, Myles Garrett, he sets the single-season sack record. He's great. Now, there is an extra game now. We're at that odd number of 17. And what do you think? Maybe he gets the sack anyway, but Joe Burrow, if you saw the play, he does like a Brett Favre dive. I mean, he just goes down. It's almost like gifting him the sack record.
That's still pretty incredible, and the Browns are so lousy. It's a testament to his commitment to still being – he's a freakish athlete, though. God, is he incredible. Oh, yeah, has been the entire time he's in the league. He's one of the best players that's ever played that position.
He is, because they're so bad that the other team is often running the football in the fourth quarter because they don't need to pass.
They don't need to pass, yeah.
Josh Allen keeps his consecutive games starting streak alive in lame fashion. This is lame. This is beneath Josh Allen. Go out there and take one snap and then head over to the sideline. Don't do that. Either play or just say, I don't care about the streak enough. I'm not doing that. That is lame.
100% agree.
Oh, my God. I hate that. All right, so who have we lost so far? Pete Carroll is out, fired by the Raiders. Stefanski Browns, Raheem Morris Falcons. AD, we got anybody else out here on Black
That's all
Monday?
I've seen so far, yeah.
Okay. Let's get into a little bit of basketball here before the all-important more segment lands in the show. But Iowa State, since we were last on, routed West Virginia. Milan Momcilovic is the best shooter in the country, shooting like 55% from three-point range. It's incredible how good he's been, and he's now what they hoped he would be. He makes everything different for Iowa State. And the other guy in the photo, if you're watching, Josh Jefferson, man, he is
great. Yeah.
One of the most underrated players in the country.
They had to work for this one too, at least in the first half. I mean, they were not shooting well at all. They had to kind of shoot their way out of a slump, and West Virginia was playing hard. But they sure did, and long before halftime, they had that game in a chokehold. But as I was watching, I was thinking, it's a reminder, boy, you have a bad shooting day. And anybody can lose to just about anybody, even at home, even when you're ranked in the top 5, you can fall. But isn't that always kind of the case with Iowa State? I mean, if they're able to work themselves out in the first half of a game, because we've seen that happen. I mean, they've just been bad shooting, and they can't get out of that. But if they're able to work themselves out like they were the other night, this team is just going to keep on going.
Still won by 21.
Triple-double by Jefferson. That's a good point. 10-10-10, right? Perfect.
10-10-10. That's right. So Iowa State stays number 3 in the new AP poll. By the way, Iowa moves up to 19. Ooh. In the women's poll. The Iowa State women, after losing at home to Baylor, drop 1 to 11. The Iowa women stay number 14. Let's go back to Iowa's basketball game. That was a good atmosphere. It wasn't sold out, but we've continued to get a reminder of just how widespread the apathy was in the basketball program. And I think Ben McCullum is doing all the right things and has been for months, trying to get the fans re-engaged and sending the players on a lap to give everybody a high five and a handshake and an autograph and a selfie, whatever anybody wants. But this was a good one to win and have people come back for that Illinois game Sunday.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a reminder that had fallen out of habit with Hawkeye fans, right? I mean, they had not. It wasn't something that they were doing anymore. Going to basketball games.
Good point.
The arena was 2/3 empty.
Right, and when something it goes on for 4 or 5 years in college sports, that's a generation basically of college students that didn't do that and didn't care about that, didn't talk about that, didn't covet those tickets. Right? I mean, they were trying to give them. There are Iowa graduates who probably never felt like they needed to go to a men's basketball game, which is hard to imagine, but I mean that's a habit, and you're gonna get snap out of a habit in half of a season.
You're right, because I've seen it in the most popular sport, football, in Collins' 4 years at Arizona State. The first year there under Kenny Dillingham, they're starting to get good, but the stadium would be half empty for a game, and by his senior year, after they won the Big 12 championship and came within a play of getting to the semifinals last year, ticket prices were sky high, home games were sold out, completely changed. So the habit can go either way, and it's usually tied to winning.
It was really aggravating to watch that as a Drake alum, right? I mean, for the longest time, forever. I mean, going to Drake men's basketball games was like something that you kind of did out of, to do your duty as a student, I think. And then, it became fun. And then it finally got to the point, like long after it should have, but, well into the Darren DeVries era, it got to the point where fans were like, students were like, oh, yeah, I'm a fan. I'm definitely going to the game because I want to see what happens. I mean, that takes a long time to plant that seed and grow it out to the point where you can reap the benefits. And, I wasn't that far gone, but, it's not going to happen overnight. But once it establishes itself, it'll be a thing to do in Iowa City.
Confluence, the official beer of Murph and Andy. Jenny and I went by there Saturday. Confluence had a big chili cook-off and contest. It was packed there, and all the money raised went to help the local food bank, and raised more than $1,000. And boy, there are a lot of people there, and just enjoying draft beer and chili. That's a really good January idea.
Yeah,
combine those two.
And a reminder that they're well known for that awesome patio, but they also have that big tap room, which is nice and warm in the wintertime. Just a really good place to go.
Back with more on a Murph and Andy Monday.
Rodeo fans, saddle up for the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo, presented by RM43, January 9th and 10th at Casey Center. Come early for autographs, pony rides, and more. Get tickets now at HighVTix.com. The buck starts here at the Cinch World's Toughest Rodeo.
The Murph and Andy Show is brought to you in part by Ramsey Subaru, home of the toughest, most reliable cars in the world and the people who back them up, on Hickman Road in Urbandale.
But wait, there's more. From Either Or Eatery and Patio.
All right, Either Or is back to its native skin. Now, it is just Either Or. Tinsel is gone, though they do still have the outdoor decorations. You'll see it from afar. They've got the lights out there.
That's a native skin?
Yeah, something like that. All right. Yeah. It is at 6222 Grand Avenue, Either Or Eatery and Patio. Emphasis on the eatery at this time of the year. It is the first of 4 Mondays in the month that is considered to be the Monday of the year, or as F. Scott Fitzgerald put it, the Monday of months.
That is a good line.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is.
Worst month
hard
for you, assuming it's one of the two, January or February?
That's a good question. I think it's probably January. I think
it is. It seems longer.
It is longer, a little bit longer.
Well, that's why it seems longer.
It seems like longer. It's colder. I don't know. And it's just like after the holidays, and it's just rough. I mean, you're kind of battling a holiday hangover, and then you're just kind of staring into the abyss, right? You've got at least 2 months of rough stuff ahead of you. Although it's what is it? Today's the 5th. We're already almost to the end of the first week. That got that going for us. Coming next month to Disney Plus and ABC, the Muppet Show is back.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the return of the Muppet Show. Back on the very stage where it all started and then ended and is maybe starting again depending on how tonight goes.
You are an icon.
You're too sweet.
Go on.
It's always been a dream of mine to be here.
Ooh. Got any other dreams?
Yeah, coming February 4th, Seth Rogen behind this. Sabrina Carpenter are going to be the host there. And I love The Muppet Show as a kid. It is a little weird for me to not hear Jim Henson and Frank Oz and those voices. They're different voices. But to the kids these days, they don't really know the difference. It's still a really good show.
I realize he's not a Muppet, but Seth Rogen has a voice made for being a Muppet.
Yeah.
So distinctive.
Yeah, there's a whole new generation of fun voices that'll be into these characters. Already are. I mean, they've been voicing these characters for a long. Jim Henson's been dead for a really long time. So, I think this is cool. I have really fond memories of my family sitting around and watching the Muppet Show when it first came out long ago. And it's like the adults like it. It's not adult humor, but it's humor that is smart enough for adults to appreciate too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's really the only successful show that had a frog-pig relationship.
That's a good point. And they all look the same. Kermit has aged great.
He's aged really well.
Really well.
He's
just
not
as
gray
green
at
as
all.
he's ever been. Yeah. Rest in peace, Craig, the Super Tusker elephant.
Wow.
He died over the weekend at age 54 at Amboseli National Park in Kenya. He was one of the largest African elephants on the planet, therefore one of the largest land animals on the planet. Known as a gentle giant. He was kind of nice and calm, and the safaris would go by him, and he was still chill. He was... He had one of the. He's a super tusker because you can see the size of his tusks. So big, they weighed about almost 50 kilograms each. Which I don't know how much a kilogram is, but
it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, just look at those things. They actually would drag on the ground. He had to lift them up. So rare because poachers, they've almost always killed these elephants long before they were able to achieve this age, this size, and their tusk that length. But he was protected very well by guards there in that national park. He 54, I guess, got to the point where he just couldn't. His teeth had worn down. He just died of old age. Born in 1972.
John, waiting for you to have that magnificent creature flip us off, but no, this is all sincere.
No, this is real. Yeah, this is real.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could find that, though. A shopping center in China has installed doors to the bathroom stalls that become transparent if they detect cigarette smoke inside. I guess that's a problem.
Don't sit on the throne with the heater.
No, I wonder what else could set off those alarms in there. First of all, they really seal you in there in China. Look at those doors that go all the way to the bottom.
This is a bathroom.
How can you check to see who's in there? You can't identify the shoes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, though? All of a sudden, the thing malfunctions and that window just becomes completely clear and everybody can just see you sitting on the juicer.
Maybe this will make its way to airport bathrooms or plane bathrooms. Airplanes, they are always warning you, don't you go in there and try it. Don't do it. You can think about it, but don't you do it.
Yeah. Sci-Fan says, well, yeah, what if you walk by there and just light a cigarette and blow the smoke over the top just to mess with the person that's sitting in there? That would be a cruel joke. I digress here. What is the ratio of harmonicas owned to harmonicas actually put to good use?
Oh, I think
Eddie got a harmonica for Christmas.
1 in 173.
I mean, I think it's like 1,000 to 1, right? I mean, first of
Yeah, I
all,
think you're probably right.
so few people actually can play a harmonica. I mean, now everybody can blow on it, but I mean, really play the harmonica. And you love it. It's great to hear somebody that can really play the harmonica. But
it's like John Lee Hooker, Bruce Willis,
Neil Young,
guy from Blues Traveler,
Bob
Dylan.
Dylan. Oh yeah, John Popper.
John,
man, he can really play the thing.
John Popper. That's right. So it's a small club.
We've got at least 3 of these kicking around my house somewhere that.
Doesn't every house that's had kids have at least one harmonica sitting around?
They'll find it every couple of months, and you'll hear harmonica blowing, and then
breathing in
disappear
and out
again.
It starts out with such enthusiasm, though, because you get the sound out. You're like, oh, I can play that. This
How hard
your
could it
mouth
be?
around a little bit, and then you realize, oh, I'm just making noise, and this sucks.
Yeah.
This blows.
I mean, harmonicas are like pennies, right? I mean, they're just kind of sitting around, couch cushions, taking up space, not performing their intended duty. All right, someone on Reddit asked, and we'll end with this because it's a bit of a long segment. Someone on Reddit asked, what is popular now that will not age well? More than 6,000 responses have poured in so far. Here are some of those responses, Murph.
Okay.
Things that are popular right now that will not age well. Putting touchscreens and smart technology into everything, even if it doesn't need smart technology. We're talking about like the smart fridges, the smart ovens, smart toasters. I mean, all like lights that are, you have to download an app to use the light bulb.
I don't want to go to the strain of having to flip that switch up.
I don't either. And it's just, isn't it just one more thing to break and require a really expensive repair? Mm-hmm. Or you've got this half functioning appliance.
Oh yeah, we've seen this happen.
Drive you nuts.
We've seen this happen to cars because everything's become automated and computerized, and there's a lot of coolness to that, and I'm really spoiled by it. But if anything goes wrong, it's more expensive to fix.
Hold that thought. We'll get back to that in just a moment. Over-filtered, perfect social media faces. We're going to look back like, why did we do all that?
Yeah, what were you thinking, Seacrest?
Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about people having plastic surgery at this point. I mean, like the people that do like all the crazy filters on Instagram or wherever else they're posting their pictures.
When you see somebody on social media that does not resemble the person you actually see in real life,
you're like, what? Are you doing that just to have fun? Or are you really thinking that we're not going to notice that you did that? Yeah, I mean, you're going to look back in 10 years and be like, what was I doing there?
What was I doing?
Well, this is probably wishful thinking, writes this person, but private equity firms. Yeah, we don't understand enough about that to really talk too much.
Yeah, I really don't have a comment.
Being an influencer, it's oversaturated at this point. Yeah, I think so many kids see this as a way to be famous and rich.
Work
and
from home.
Not really do anything.
Work on the move. I think the successful influencers, like the ones who make videos that consistently go viral, I think they actually have to work really hard. It doesn't look like it when you watch that video, but they may have spent 30 hours on the one video.
And it seems like one of those jobs where you're never not working.
Yeah.
You're always looking for content or gathering content or, planning your next piece of content. That seems like a life-invading thing.
Could be.
Overconsumption. That's kind of general. Back to the vehicles, Murph. Touch screens in vehicles. I think this is a really good point. I want to keep my eyes on the road and just feel for the correct button / dial to change the heat, music, or whatever. Totally agree with this. I don't want all the controls on the touchscreen. I think the Teslas have all that. It drives people nuts. But here's the other thing. Those age a car so fast. Cars age so fast now, and they lose their value, especially the luxury cars that really have an influence on the tech. I mean, that's top of the line, and it's like cutting edge for like a month, right? And then it's outdated, and in 3 years, the touchscreen on your car, it's too small. It doesn't do all the things that everybody else. I mean, there's like nothing that ages a car faster than that. It's almost like there can't be any classic cars anymore because of these touchscreens.
Oh, I've seen you around classic cars too. My goodness.
Well, none of them have touchscreens. But
But you lose your. Was it Boone this year on RVTV? What was it, Boone that had the classic car show? And Sears and I are down there trying to judge, and we don't know what we're doing.
Where was that?
And then you come over, and we lost you for a couple of hours, and you had like 48 questions.
But they were really like taking it seriously over there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think they were kind of pissed at us that like we were not qualified enough to
I
judge their
definitely
classic
wasn't
car.
qualified. You were way more qualified than me.
Well, I wasn't qualified either. I was just trying to,
where was
respect these people.
I don't think it
wasn't Boone.
Was it Earlham? I know they had some classic
No,
cars
it
out
wasn't.
there on the
They
street.
did have
Earlham.
classic cars in Earlham, but it wasn't
it
Earlham
Coon,
either.
It might have been Coon Rapids.
I think it was Coon Rapids
Yeah.
because it wasn't Lorville because they just have classic bars.
Yeah. But there were some really nice rides over there. But yeah, they're all analog, and those are the cars. The more analog it is, it seems like that's the better it's going to age. But what I think they ought to do is just have like a plug-in where you put your own iPad or your own device somehow on the car that you could change it and upgrade it as the car gets older. But they don't want to do that. They want you to buy a new car,
like the iPhone.
All right, moving on now with things that are not going to age well. The manosphere says the men desperate to be alphas are actually the ones furthest from it. The tats, the douche trucks, the steroids, the worship of bro culture podcasters and influencers, etc. Yeah, I think I agree with that.
I could see some of that aging poorly.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting AI into every single product.
Boy,
that has been the game changer of 2025.
We've seen this a lot, even in these. One example: transfer portal. Like all these photos come out, and they're AI and they're photoshopped, and it's hard to know what's real.
What is real? Yeah. I don't even know how to say this word. Is it buccal fat surgery or?
Yes,
buckle.
Yeah. So
buccal fat surgery.
This is what, and I don't know that he's had. I'm not a professional doctor, but like I was watching Wheel of Fortune, and Ryan Seacrest is he's never been a heavy guy.
No, he's gaunt.
But if you look at him now, he looks like Willem Dafoe in the face. Like, yeah, gaunt is the right word. Well, Colin, who's in college, took one look at it and he goes, that's what everybody's doing in Hollywood. They're having the buccal fat removed.
Buccal.
And then they put it somewhere else. Like it could be in their lips or their butt or depending on, where they want.
Do you have to put it somewhere else? Can
you
just
don't have
get
to,
rid of it?
no. But yeah, thin people have that removed.
Yeah. You're going to regret that, man.
Oh my God!
Because later on, when you get older, you lose all that. That people have like fat don't they have like fat injections in their face and stuff?
Yeah, and by the way,
skin gets loose.
Like a lot of these people are like attractive, good-looking people, and somehow they have it in their head that they need to be thinner or more skeletal. I mean, did you see the Wicked promotion tour? It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know why he would do that or anybody else. I just
hollowed out look. Yeah, that is what it looks like.
Hollowed out. Yeah, like it got like somebody let the air out of it. Someone.
I've earned this, Andy. I'm keeping it.
We got a couple more here. Subscriptions for everything and anything under the sun, not just streaming. Oh God, yeah.
How did I get 40? What am I going to do with 40 subscriptions?
Everybody wants your email and all that stuff. And here, I had to look this one up. Broccoli head haircuts.
Yes.
Actually, and I was thinking about it. Eddie kind of has just like a natural broccoli head.
It's it's the tumble of a bunch of curls up. This guy actually looks pretty good, but like you've seen go to a high school basketball game, you see a bunch of young men playing in the stands with just all the curls on the forehead. Looks like
but it's like it's like shaved all the way up to the top, and then it
got the fade right into the top. Yeah,
goes all over. And then finally, I have a feeling that social media is going to be the "we didn't realize cigarettes cause cancer" of our generation.
Yep.
Oh yeah. It's hitting all of us.
Oh yeah.
It's hitting all of us. Yep. Just all we're missing are the ashtrays.
Yeah, that's right.
And the lighters. That's your more, everybody.
All right, it is time now for more Andrew Downs with Throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto brings us Throwdowns, treating you like family in Ankeny, Waukee, Knoxville, Boone, and Crescent, an authorized dealer of both Firestone and Bridgestone tires. Let's go with Murph. Iowa State has 7 games in January, 7 more games in January. They'll be heavy favorites in almost all of them. Would it be better for the Cyclones to stay unbeaten or to drop a game sometime this month?
I'm not worried about the Cyclones in January. I worry about the Cyclones in February because they've shown signs of a combination of injuries and what looks like physical fatigue in February. And they need to, whatever they do, they need to be fresh at the end of February going into March, because this team won by 23 points at number 1 Purdue. This team could win it all if everything breaks right and they stay healthy. I don't think TJ Otzelberger probably needs an attention getter in January, so I think it'd be fine to go through January undefeated. That game at Kansas will not be easy. That one jumps out. I think it does to all of us. But February is more where he may need an attention getter.
Yeah, just keep piling up the wins at this point. I don't think that, a bunch of those losses would not be good losses to take on mostly unranked teams in there. But and I do think that they need a loss sometime in February to kind of shock themselves and remind themselves of how difficult that is. But right now, it's too early for any Cyclone fans to be rooting for stuff like that. Just pile those wins up while they're coming.
Andy, in the closing seconds of Iowa's win over UCLA, rather than taking a shot clock violation, Ben McCullum told Bennett Sturtz, shoot the ball. He did. He made a deep three, increasing the lead to 13. Do you have any problem with Iowa taking that final shot?
No, not at this point. Are you talking about rather what it looks like they're pouring it on a little bit?
Exactly. Yeah, it's pouring it on. It was that you're already up by 10. UCLA had called off the dogs. You could just take the shot clock violation and the game ends. Instead, you hit a 35-footer and the crowd goes nuts.
Nah, it's at home. You're not beating them by 30, and it's UCLA. It's not it's not Houston Christian.
I not only don't have a problem with it, it might have been the coolest moment of the game because
crowd went nuts.
You can see Sturtz look over, and somebody captured it from the side. Sturtz looks over at McCullum and goes like, "What do I do here?" Because there was still time on the clock, the shot clock. They had to make a decision to take the violation or shoot it, and McCullum just goes like that. So Sturtz shoots it, swish. Crowd goes absolutely nuts. This isn't like pressing somebody and then going down and doing a windmill dunk.
No, I need to remind you of something, Andrew, and that is the Bulldogs play to the whistle.
And now the Hawkeyes
That's
do.
it, to the buzzer.
Bulldogs.
All right, Murph, a lot of people got gift cards over the holidays. A lot of those gift cards will remain unused. How good are you about actually using your gift cards?
Not as good as I want to be or need to be, and we do eventually get around to using everything. We have like gift card weekend where we can't spend any money, can only use gift cards, that kind of thing. But I have had a couple of places close, and then I've got a nice gift card, and that's inconsiderate of me. So I want to do a better job of using them quicker because it's essentially the same as someone giving you cash.
Yeah, or like a present, and you just set the thing on the table and never touch it again. I don't think I got any gift cards this year. I don't think I did. But yeah, they go into a drawer, then you forget about them. And then it's like, you worry, is there an expiration date on this? I never feel great about using a gift card, but I shouldn't feel that way.
See, that's where I am too. Like we got 2 different Flicks gift cards for the holidays. So we went yesterday or Saturday, whichever, and saw Zootopia 2. And it's like, can I use both gift cards at once here, or do I just use one and then save the other one, and hopefully we'll get back there and use it before it expires or we lose it?
Use everything when you have the opportunity, I think.
See, I didn't feel comfortable putting 2 gift cards and my credit card into the little thing, so I held one back.
Well, what do you guys think about this? I can imagine both of you being uncomfortable about this, but when let's say you're at a restaurant and you use a gift card, which only covers part of your bill, but then the server makes a point of pointing out to you that, well, after you've used the $50 gift card, your bill comes to only $46. But you did charge $96 worth of food.
Yeah, please tip me for the whole amount.
Where they're basically just reminding you to tip them for the full amount. And you're like, okay, dude, I can figure that out. I understand that. I'm the one that handed you the gift card. I don't like it when they do that. It makes me uncomfortable.
I think my percentage of tip just went down.
Yes.
Because it's insulting.
And usually if you're using a gift card, my tip percentage will go up because hey, I just got some free money.
I imagine that's not always the case, and you have boneheads that go in there and just like, well, bill is only $40, so I'm only going to tip on $40. You know, and they do that, and then the servers, that screws them over. But I don't like it when they don't point it out to me. I know.
All right, speakpipe.com/Murph_Andy is where you go to leave a rant of what's bugging you on any subject you want, anytime, day or night. Andrew listens to them. Sometimes he sends them to us and says, of course, we can't air this, but I thought you'd get a kick out of it. But we put the best of them on Friday's Murph and Andy show. So do that when you feel like it. It's time now for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD squared.
Yeah, new year, new you, or it could be if you go to Game Day Men's Health, Ankeny, West Des Moines, North Liberty. They're out in Illinois, everywhere. If there's a Game Day Men's Health near you, free consultation. They'll help you get ready for 2026 and hit the ground running. The 49ers lost their game, as we mentioned, Saturday night. They lost their division as well to the Seahawks. And George Kittle was asked, because it was at home. It was in San Francisco or wherever they play, Santa Clara.
Yeah.
George Kittle was asked about the Seahawks celebrating on their home turf, and he gave an answer that really only George Kittle could give.
Celebrating in their locker room, smoking cigars and dancing.
Cool.
Do you take offense to it, or you just say you take your medicine because of what they did?
I would do the same shit. Yeah, I mean, what? They won the division. They got the 1 seed. They won in a rival stadium. Good for them.
I love that. Yeah, that's right. All of that is honest. Yeah, I do love Kittle.
Yeah, and it would have been honest if it pissed him off too, right? And he pointed that out. But I mean, give your honest reaction to it. I mean, how did you really feel? Don't sit there and what answer sounds the best. What's the most PC? Just spit it out. I think we'd expect that from him, though.
Man, that defense looked good. That looked Legion of Boomish. That defense. Iowa Everywhere shows, of course, all week. Next one, I think. What's up next? I think Overthinking is coming up next with Kenzie, Scott, and Cade. That's coming up tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow at noon. So,
you never know what those guys are going to get up to.
Yeah, I just want Scott to keep his a little bit more distance. Let's leave some room for the Holy Ghost. Thanks for being part of Murph and Andy here on a Monday, right here on Iowa Everywhere. If you want to make it easy to get the show, please like and subscribe. We're back Wednesday, and we hope you are too.